Hello, this is Mr. Taylor, and we're going to be looking at hydraulics and fluid dynamics basics. The fundamentals of fluids. Fluids can either be liquids or gases. This is, for example, air and water. These are very important and essential to many industries. You interact with this with, for example, with any automobile with their braking system on a daily basis. A few terms. Viscosity, which is basically how thick a fluid is, and flow rate. Now, temperature affects flow rate, and a great example of this is putting maple syrup in the microwave when you pull it out of the fridge. At first, when it's right out of the fridge, you try to pour it out on your pancakes or waffles. It's very thick. Its viscosity is thicker, which affects its flow rate. Higher the viscosity, slower the flow rate. Now, if the temperature increases, now all of a sudden this maple syrup, it's flowing faster. This happens with oil as well, detergents, different liquids. Okay. Some more terms. Density. It affects viscosity. Greater the viscosity, greater the density. Density defined as the mass per unit volume of a substance. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Volume is the amount of space occupied by an object. Now, mass divided by volume is the equation for density. Viscosity and density of fluids affects objects placed in those liquids, which brings us to buoyant force. It's an upward force on objects submerged in fluids. In some cases, these could cause the object to float when normally gravity would cause it to sink. All right. Now, more on fluids. Fluids under pressure can exert forces that can be used by us to do work. Fluids from the basis of pneumatics and hydraulic systems, which are used in industries such as automobile manufacturing, as we spoke about brakes. Hoists found in service stations. You ever had your parents take a car to an auto mechanic and they put up in a lift, dentist chair, or get your hair cut? Those use these fluids to maneuver them. Aeronautics, submarines, shipping industry, the list can go on and on. Some fluids can be compressed, such as gases, while others cannot, liquids. Pneumatics is a branch of science that deals with the study and use of air, okay, and other gases. Hydraulics is the same, except it uses liquids. Now, here's some things about hydraulic system. A few things I want to point out to you is that they eliminate the need for complicated systems using gears, cams, and levers. Fluids used are not subject to braking as mechanical parts. They transfer motion, and they're economical to operate, and you can read the rest. Now, some basic principles of hydraulics. Liquids have no shape of their own. Liquids will not compress, and liquids transmit applied pressure in all directions. Liquids provide great increase in workforce. This allows us to use these, knowing these basic principles. This is a video that goes over a variety of pressure with regards to liquid. Recommend watching that. Bernoulli's principle basically tells us that an increase in a liquid speed, which is either, also this is with gases as well, with fluids, creates a pressure decrease, and a decrease in liquid speed creates a pressure increase. Here are a bunch of examples of Bernoulli's principle and explanations. Please watch these and read these. Here's an example of this, such as if you've ever seen someone use like one of those Miracle-Gro grass feeders or vegetable feeders, where you put the Miracle-Gro in the lower container and then hook the hose to the back end. What happens is the water's moving at a higher speed. Then in the container, so the pressure drops. So now the liquid in the container has a higher pressure, and it pushes into the hose. Here are 2 videos on Archimedes' principle. Recommend watching. Now, density, as we talked about earlier, density is mass divided by volume. High density particles are packed together closely, which typically sink. And then low density, the particles are loosely packed together. There's more space between them, and they will typically float. And then to the right image is a density column where things will separate based off of density. It's very easy to do. You can do one of these at home with just liquids that you would find in materials you would find in your kitchen or pantry or cleaning materials. Then here is a simulator on density and density calculator and 2 density simulation activities. All right, we'll continue more with our part 2 video later this week. Thank you.